The divine is, first of all, here, subtle, deep, but large. There is a saying that the divine or God is not going to lower itself to the lower worlds. It's not going to lower itself to the egos. It's not going to lower itself to the distorted ways. So we need to climb up. We need to come closer. We need to meet, we may say, midway or even slightly up with the divine so that the divine can become recognizable, sensible, uh, graspable, and experiential. So in essence, the divine is here, but it's very subtle. It is not gross. It is so close that it is permeating this moment. It is shining through you, this moment. But many are not aware of that because for many, the attention is placed upon something more gross, more tangible. What is the cause of challenges, suffering, pain? On one hand, it is lack of experience, seeing, knowing of how things really are, lack of knowing of the divine way. And then, of course, due to that lack of knowing of the divine way, there come many automations and assumptions. And that, of course, gives rise to all the complexities, mental, emotional, psychological complexities. So as we simplify things, as we come back to the subtle, from the gross to the subtle, everything becomes more and more simple. We start to recognize that everything that we experience is made of divine atoms. Just like everything you see on the screen is made of pixels. We start to accept the nature of this body, the nature of the mind and the complexities of the conditioned ignorance. This is how they are. That's okay because that's how they are. There is no judgment to them. It's simply how they are. In the lower creation, in the grosser creation, there are two polarities, the positive and negative. Just like electricity has plus and minus. And what happens that normally one seeks the plus and one tries to avoid the minus. And that seeking and avoiding is attachment, desire, creates anger and all other effects. But as we start to become more subtle, we see that the negative is only an appearance. The negative is only the minus current. it is not negative in itself, just like the minus of electricity does nothing bad. But of course, if the electricity is misused, it can be dangerous. So when the negative current is misused, it can be dangerous. So as we become more subtle and come closer to the divine, we see that from these perfect divine atoms, there springs the positive and negative or plus and minus currents of the sound and light that bring things into creation. The divine way is simple. The divine way has no fault. And we arrive to this seeing with acceptance, with wisdom, with the seeing through things, not judging the negative, the minus current. Of course, we have to grow up to this wisdom. We have to grow up and mature to the divine way. Because the divine way is the way it is. How do we find the divine in times of challenges? In times of challenges, it is easy to dwell in challenges. In times of challenges, one tends to spiral down very quickly into the spiral corners of anger, judgment, or sadness. One needs to take one step to more positive outlook, and via, we may say, faith, if one has not experienced divine guidance yet, that's where faith comes in. One can always ask for help. So faith doesn't need to be religious. It is essentially a way of asking help. And if one asks help sincerely, this help will come. If one is ego-minded and arrogant and judgmental, not even asking for help, well, here you go. Enjoy your life like that. Apparently, one doesn't need help. So asking for help is the way to connect with the guide or with your guides. There is a form of prayer. There is a form of meditation. There is a form of intentional asking for help. So this is how we shift our ego into surrender, devotion, or asking for assistance and guidance. Asking for help is a way to reach higher. Asking for help is already realizing that there is a certain limitation and there is available help sooner or later with patience. This is the foundation of faith. This is the foundation of many religions. There is a reason for that, because it works. That is one of the ways of divine. Now, how could God not help someone? How could a mother would not help her child? Sooner or later, this help will come. The guides are of many forms of variety, many degrees of guides, from the very common guides such as ancestors or animal spirits to more advanced guides of higher spiritual nature, and all the way to the most divine guides who know the ways of divine. Because there are many layers of the universe, and at each of those layers, one is more familiar with something. How can we become more familiar with the divine? You may have had an extraordinary experience of divine, and you remember that. That was an experience of divine. Now, if you have, let's say, one special experience a year, you start to get to know that when it comes second time, oh, that's the divine, second time. So let's say after a couple of years, you had already few experiences, you're getting to know what is the divine experience. Others may realize that it is possible to find the conditions to experience more frequently the divine. For example, such as being in a company of a guide, the one who is there or has an easy access to it. How would you feel in the company of divine? How would you think and act? A very good example is whenever you're confused or in doubt and worries, you can ask yourself, if you have become acquainted to these wonderful guides of humanity, you may ask yourself, what would Krishna do in this situation? How would Krishna feel about this matter? How would let's say Anandamaya Ma feel about this? What would she think about this situation? How would she react to this? Yes. How would Buddha uh, resolve this challenge? How would Buddha see this situation? What would Buddha do in this circumstance? So whatever guides you become familiar with, they can become your role models, and you can try to put yourself in their shoes. And what happens that you do literally put yourself in their shoes and you get catapulted right into the heavens, even in the times of challenges. When you have doubts and worries, you see how powerful this way is when you put yourself in somebody else's shoes, such as a divine being's shoes. You can surely do that. So this immediately becomes an assistance to you. In a more advanced way, you can unite your attention, you can unite your energy with the being of divine. This is a more advanced meditative way. So of course, there's a bhakti approach, the devotion, surrender, or there's also Raja Yoga approach, where you unite your focus, your attention with the being, and you immerse in the presence of this being. And this divine being's energy envelops you, surrounds you, and heals you. So as you grow, there becomes more direct ways, more easier ways, more immediate ways. And this is the beauty that as you seek divine, it is seeking you. You're bridging the gap. So more and more you're coming closer. And then, of course, some obstacle comes up. You clear this bit, you clear that bit, but you don't complain it. You say, thank you, Lord, for giving me this obstacle. Thank you, Divine, for showing me this challenge that I have. And you always know that when you clear this bit, you come even closer. Yes, you bridge the gap one step at a time. It doesn't matter how many years it takes. But you always know you're coming one step again and again closer to the divine. So knowing the way of divine is aligning to the divine, asking for help. Everybody can do that. Putting yourself in the shoes of divine will uplift you instantly. Learning about the nature of reality of the walls will set your mind at ease. Your mind will stop complaining about this and that. It will clear things up. Doing the diligent, hard work of healing, purifications is also necessary. And the biggest gift of life is to be in the company of the divine, to soak up all those beautiful energies, to be showered and blessed day by day, life divine.